Yo, what's going on, Nomads and Drifting podcast listeners? Welcome to episode 19 of the Backspace Nomads Podcast. Before we jump into the podcast, I want to give you guys a quick reminder that every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live on twitch.tv/Backspace Nomads. There you can catch the show live while we record it, or watch the premiere broadcast of the show. It's very exciting stuff. On this episode of the pod, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft's new launch of their updated logo. We're also going to be talking about sex scenes and gaming before we finally jump into our review of Friday the 13th. It's spooky stuff. Monica, how's your week been?
My week's been freaking great.
Woo.
I finally broke through some glass ceilings that I've been waiting on breaking through. You
were cracking it before. Now you're through them.
Well, I'm through a few of them. Yeah, it's like a multi-level greenhouse. But yeah,
that's the place you don't want to break the glass ceiling.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I don't know what's happening anymore. So yeah, I work in the tech startup scene and just got some really good news at my job, getting a lot more responsibility, getting an increase, and really just kind of have been told that I'm getting the trust that I feel like I've deserved from pretty much every place I've ever worked at and not always been provided. So that's really, really exciting for me. And then outside of that, I am going to prison.
You're going to prison?
I am going to prison.
Did you commit an actual crime or?
It was a crime of passion. And it cost me $70.
That's the fucking crime right there.
Yeah.
Getting charged $70.
Yeah, I got charged $70 to go to prison. I paid it so I could go. But yeah, so the movie Shawshank Redemption, the reformatory that's in that film is kind of near me, but they have these overnight trips where you just get to go in and explore, and you walk around with headlamps and you just explore this old, supposedly haunted, but from what I've read, it became haunted after they decided wanting to like make these overnight trips.
After Shawshank film, it was haunted.
Suddenly, yeah, it's haunted by Morgan Freeman. But
all you hear is like faint Andy Dufresne's in the corner, like Andy Dufresne.
So I am going to be spending the night at this reformatory and exploring it and maybe seeing ghosts and maybe getting scared and maybe shanking people and pretending like I'm an actual
inmate.
An actual inmate. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm going with a couple of girls.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah,
I've always taken you as kind of like a gang leader / prison leader.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I oftentimes, when I was about 4 years old, started doodling myself in a prison scenario and starting to consider like what those experiences would be like for me and how I get out of them. So I'm 100% prepared to take on these motherfuckers who also spent $70 to spend the night in the prison. I am going to rule them with
Overlord.
With my shank.
After you like fake shank people, or you just gonna be like Shawshank?
Holy fuck! I am now.
Okay.
Oh my god, dude!
You're welcome, and everyone else in the prison is welcome also.
Could you imagine? Just look on the news. Look on the news.
Just look on the news.
I will be there. I will be going to real prison because I will have spent $70 to go to a prison, shank a bunch of people, saying Shawshank.
When ghost tours go real.
Yeah. People were horrified. This really, really pale woman, they couldn't tell she was a ghost.
We paid $70 and then this ghost appeared and started stabbing us.
Yeah. Ghost or tourist, no one knew. Oh my gosh.
Or that, or like, if you don't want to say Shawshank, just say like Scared Straight. You know, like Scared Straight. There you go. Do you think you're gonna see like the tunnels that Andy Dufresne dug out for himself?
I don't know. I don't know really what what to expect. I know someone that's been there and done this before, and they said bring a headlamp and layers. So, like, it just sounds like a camping trip. I don't know. Like,
are there no lighting? There's no lighting at all in the prison. It's all just you.
I don't know. If it is pitch black in there, I am going.
Dude, you're gonna fucking
to freak
bro.
The fuck.
You're gonna fucking freak.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I will let you know next week. How about you? How was your week?
My week is pretty good. Overwatch, of course, as I always talk about, the end of their season. Now we're moving into season 5, but I had to play in the quick play matches, which are not the competitive matches, so I had to play with all of the...
So totally beneath you.
Just the people who shouldn't even be touching me, the deplorables, as we've known them in society. They're disgusting. They don't understand positioning or momentum or just game sense at all, and I had to play with them, and it's been a pretty bad week for me. It's really tested my inner strength. The new season has started. After this pod, I'll probably go kicking up seasons 5 and taking my rightful home back with the good players and the people who know how to, place a fucking rocket shot.
The masterful.
Masterful. Thank you for that word, because that's what I am. Overwatch Master.
So wait a second. Do you talk crap to these people that aren't playing well? Do you get? Oh
yeah. Oh yeah. It's I stream the game every once in a while, but like I try and put on a positive attitude. But when we're off stream, it gets a little bit more negative, and I just let them know that they're fucking dumpster fires and they're fucking normies, and I don't know why they assume they can play with the other people.
Okay, so do you take? I have a question for you. Do you take this off game? Like when you're done with the game, if you've just been getting your ass kicked because of you have to hang out with these deplorables, are you in a bad mood when the game is done?
I know this time, like I had to get, like someone had to use my PC. My chick had to get something done for her photography, and I ended with a bad game of Overwatch. And I had to walk away, and I said, "I'll see you in like a few hours." And I went to the bar. Like I walked away from my house and walked down the street to it's called Sports Town.
Oh god!
It got me kicked back to a few of the Lagunitas because I was in a pretty bad mood.
So, how do you feel about that? Like, as a general rule, I don't typically. There have been instances in my life and in gaming where my response to it isn't like a positive reaction where I'm like trying to escape.
Right.
But I actually have a really bad reaction, and it actually puts me in a horrible mood when gaming is supposed to be a relief for you. Like,
Dude.
Are you becoming such a competitive player that you are almost to the point where you like can't even enjoy it anymore?
Yeah, it has to be. Your head has to be in the fucking game. If you're talking about something else or you're trying to meme, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose my shit. I don't get mad at anything in my life like I do when I play competitive games. I get more mad about that than I would if you stole my wallet. Like if you stole my wallet, I just like, all right, you know what? That's my fault. I get into these games and I get like, I try not to like just overhandedly be outlandish and just furious at people. But on the inside, I'm like burning. I can feel my heart like having years taken off of it.
Sounds awful.
But then I win. And I'm like king. I'm like a god, and I'm on top of the world.
Oh my god!
You don't play like that? That's just me. That's a me thing.
No, okay? It's not just a you thing. I know it's not just a you thing, but I just can't imagine like getting off of work and going to go play something that like makes me as pissed off, if not more pissed off than I. Well, we've
had like Jam Jar was on the pod. He talked about like throwing his controller and smashing. Yeah, like it just.
He also said that was like a huge issue and that he doesn't want to be like that because it wasn't fun.
Well, that's him.
We're gonna have to have an intervention anyway.
They're most fun. Other than that, 2 other things. I bought my ticket to TwitchCon this year,
Woo!
which I was pretty excited about that purchase. I was kind of a toss-up on whether I was going or not, but overwhelming, I thought it'd be fantastic for the Backspace Nomads. And last year at TwitchCon, I think that's kind of spiritually where Backspace Nomads started. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where we met in person, and meet you and the other co-host who started this, Josh. That's kind of where we hang out. We got the idea there's a vibe between the conversations that happened that would be fun for other people to listen to, and we wanted to share that with people. So I was very excited to buy my ticket to TwitchCon. I don't know what we're gonna do there besides just be us, but I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We used to have fun streams that people watch, and now we're just the Backspace Nomads, and so
whatever. I feel like this is even better, and plus, all the people that used to watch me, if they're going to be there, they're still going to want to hang out anyway. So yeah, no concerns there.
Yeah, definitely. Other than buying the TwitchCon tickets, House of Cards Season 5 came out on Netflix, and I know it's not gaming related, but it is kind of like nerd culture. Netflix is. What the fuck is going on with House of Cards Season 5? This shit is off the rails. It's like they tried to take what Trump was doing and just take it and turn it up to 11. And I am so disconnected from the nonsense going on in the show. I'm pretty sure that you don't watch House of Cards.
Nope.
I'm kind of a political person. I studied political science in college. That was my major. I am 6 episodes deep into the season, and I don't know what the hell is going on with this writing. It has no basis in actual politics, and they should be ashamed of themselves, Monica.
So what I'm getting is that you get off of work, which frustrates you. And then you either play a game,
take it home,
which frustrates you, or you watch a show, which frustrates you.
Yep. And then I go do a podcast with a co-host who makes fun of me and just absolutely frustrates me. It's cool.
Yay!
It's fun.
It's fun.
My life is wonderful. What a time to be alive. Well, it's morning in America.
On that note, we should talk about something that you really enjoy.
Our first topic of the night. Ubisoft has decided to, after 14 years, change their logo. Should I start by reading the excerpt or why they did this to change their logo? Is that where we should start this conversation?
Yes.
From their blog post that was on May 31st from Ubisoft, and I quote, "Our new logo is minimalist, modern, and monochromatic. The swirl and the letter O are both deliberately created to be reminiscent of hand-drawn shapes and represent our human qualities of enthusiasm, curiosity, and grande folie that Ubisoft is known for." Apparently, grande folie just means unfinished, overhyped, underdelivered bullshit games. Have you seen this logo?
Yes, I have seen the logo. I was surprised by it. When you have waited 14 years to do a new logo, I guess I'm just very underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed?
Read the quote. Read the part of the quote again, where it's, what does it say about the human experience or the hand-drawn? Right. Hand-drawn. Yeah. Okay, this doesn't look hand-drawn for one. It just looks poorly designed.
Imagine a boardroom of middle-aged, white, balding men trying to connect with the youth. Deliberately created to be reminiscent of hand-drawn shapes and represent our human qualities of enthusiasm, curiosity, and grande folie.
So I feel as though a lot of times with art, when you have to explain it a lot, you've done a pretty bad fucking job, and that's a lot of explanation for this. So I don't know. How do you feel about it, Brian? What are your innermost demons? Thoughts.
To steal a line from my granddaddy from the South, born on the side of a mountain in Kentucky, you can put lipstick on a pig, but he's still a pig. That's how I feel about this new logo. Ubisoft is a shit-kicking company who has delivered nothing but pathetic, underwhelming games to the gaming community and taken its money exploitatively for years, and they are trying to add this new logo as a starting point for some kind of rebranding and restart of the company. It's not going to happen. You're still a shitty company from a place in the world who can't decide what language they're going to speak, and you ship bad games out to the world. You take advantage of gamers. I still remember The Division, and I still will never forgive you for everything you have done. What did you do? What did you do to Assassin's Creed?
No.
The Division, Assassin's Creed. What are you doing here, Ubisoft? You are a respectable gaming company, and you are destroying the franchises. Do you remember Splinter Cell when it first was released? The amount of overwhelming, not just hype, but reception, how great that series was?
Yes.
And then they just took it and their stupid fucking logo now and made it minimalistic, boring, and apparently grande folie.
Okay, so looking at it, you can draw. Let's see, we know what they want us to draw out of it.
Should we explain it, just the basis of what it is?
Yeah. So it looks like a swirl. It's it doesn't look all that. It is a different design, but it's following a similar look as their last branding, which was in 2013.
I mean
2003. I'm sorry.
One of the comments I read on Reddit was that they just took their old logo and went into Photoshop and took all the layers off of it.
Right. Right.
It's like their old logo, just flat and devoid of any enjoyment.
Right. So that is a thing that happened. But I guess go look at this logo, and for people that are like, why are we talking about a logo? This is a big deal. I mean, Ubisoft is a huge company, and rebranding or a new logo for them, really should kind of define them. And I feel like Brian knows how this logo is defining them. I'm more interested in finding out, looking at this like a Rorschach test. Yes. And trying to say, when we look at this, what do we see? Are we seeing youth? Are we seeing hand drawn, or what are we seeing in it? Because I will say that the first thing I thought of when I saw it was, I'm looking at the back end of Ninetales.
The Pokemon character, Ninetales?
Yes. So I'm looking at the back end. I'm looking at all of the tails swirling around. Ninetales
his asshole in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a big asshole, though. That would be, but yeah, maybe.
You don't know how Pikachu gets down.
Yeah, well, true. So what about you? What's the first thing you see? Looking at this, you're angry, you're thinking things. I'm your therapist. I'm lifting this up to you. What do you
This looks like a toilet bowl. A toilet bowl that isn't standing still, but one that has been flushed with a big turd inside of it. And it is just swirling around the inner rim of the bowl. And it is just circling down to the middle to where gamers' mouths are, where they're just delivering big piles of shit that they call video games.
Okay, I can see that. Yep. I also see an eye, the center is kind of darkened. It looks a little weary. It's looking slightly up to the sky, thinking, what's out there for me?
Nervous.
And it's growing tired and weary. Dark iris, dark everything.
Yeah. The next thing for me, I'm gonna throw in I guess it kind of looks like a snow cone, like you're about to, not a snow cone, like a soft serve ice cream.
Oh,
that
yeah.
You're looking top down at this beautiful ice cream, and then you tilt it and you say, that's not ice cream, that's a big turd.
Okay.
It looks like the turd emoji that's been turned sideways so you only see the top.
So bird's eye view of the
bird's eye view of the turd emoji.
Right. Okay.
Ubisoft.
Okay. Yeah. All right. These are good. Yeah. Anything else that you see?
Maybe the designer who was doing this logo, just like what he would like to do with himself, just throw himself down a hill and just go into big swirling motions, thinking about the awful company that he works for and what his professional life is going to mean.
So he started off, he's kind of tumbling down, somersaulting, and like layers of earth are like grabbing onto him almost. Like
kind of almost like
weighing
and
him
like
down.
He's picked up enough speed. He's almost like a Sonic the Hedgehog of regret and despair for this horrible company that he's going to have to explain to his kids that he worked for at one point in his life.
Oh my God.
But that's me.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's just you. That's just us.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that fully explains, we'll have to, our therapists will have to take some time with our responses, see what it all means for us. But
big fans, though. Big fans of it.
Big fans. Love it.
Can't get enough of it. Let's move on to the second topic of the night. Sex scenes and video games. We picked up on this from an article that Kotaku published from the author, Nathan Grayson. This talks about not just the idea of sex scenes in video games, but the amount of process and development that goes into sex scenes. This article was put out, I think, on the 26th of May, and I think it's a great insight into the things you don't think about that go into video game sex scenes.
Right. I always almost feel like in video game sex scenes, there's something left to be desired, and it might be because you get some penetration.
You get,
but that's just me. But yeah, when reading this article, they talk about the difficulties and how one sex scene is the equivalent of sometimes 3 different campaigns almost happening within a game.
Yeah.
It sounds like an incredible process. And that, there's so many layers to creating it that complicate it. Anything from the fine detailing, because suddenly you're up close and personal with these characters and you want it to look right. You can't smash out. Kissing in video games is always just so bad. You know what I mean? It's so bad. There's no real touching. It's just kind of
dude, it's like your first high school kiss.
It's
you have one mouth shape.
Your face. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God.
One mouth shape, and you're just ramming it in over and over. This is good, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't want to think about high school kisses, but yeah, that's something I've always noticed. But just to get them close without them blending in together is so difficult. And they talked about this in this article. They even talked about the arm, if you have the character lift their arms up over their head, you stretch out the texture in the arm and it can look really bad. And so they try to just avoid that. They try to just completely avoid armpits, which is just extremely disappointing because I feel like everyone wants to see a good armpit in a sex scene,
It's the only thing I look for sometimes.
Right.
Do we got some good armpit sniffing going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Is this... I think where it almost starts is who did art texture stretching horribly and they didn't care. It was GTA. Grand Theft Auto is notorious for stretching out their models in ways that they shouldn't do, and this article brings up in the very beginning of sex and games, GTA is one of the originals. The cars that you would pick up a prostitute, and your models would just sit there and not move anything, but the car would just shift back and forth, squeaking, left, right, left, right.
Make a noise too, right?
Just
I remember a noise. Maybe I just made that up. But
no, the squeaking noise. Your suspension.
The suspension. Yeah.
So they moved from GTA, and of course, The Sims, the whoopee or whatever they would do, the woohoos, and the blurring out. And then it really is moving into the actual. With The Witcher and Mass Effect before that, Dragon Age, where the process of making these games have believable sex scenes is an extraordinary task. Think about the motion capture actors who have to perform these sex scenes for nerds like us.
Right. I mean, I don't view it as, it can't be any more awkward than filming sex scenes for movies. You know?
You think?
Why would it be? I mean, you're just acting out a sex scene, and your face isn't even going to be used. But I don't know. Maybe it is weirder. I mean, I'm assuming you're wearing like
in a sex scene for a movie.
Outfits.
Yeah, like it's you're in person. They can set the mood. There's all this lighting going on. When you're doing a motion capture, it's just bright fluorescent lights. You're in a green screen capture suit with all those like bubble and like dots they put all over you. And, like, you just have to try and, like, no, this is intimate. This is intimate.
I'm just going to say that I think that those suits could be a little kinky.
Why would those suits be kinky, dude?
I don't know. But, like, I'm sure for somebody they're into them.
Yeah. What do you think about...
You don't have to be nude. That's a huge thing. You know, you don't have to be nude. You don't have to worry about, like, your parts really touching another person's parts. That's a relative stranger, you know. I don't know. I feel like it would be easier, but it's still like, I feel like in general, sex scenes in games are a little awkward. Like even in this article, I was rewatching some that they posted some of the videos, and I was rewatching the Cloud like sex scene, the sex scene in the
DLC?
Clouds from the DLC Witcher 3. And like I remember playing that DLC and just like laughing. Like I liked the scene itself, but I was just like, what is going on here? And I think that until gaming has the ability to like, you know, make that as easy as combat, you're always gonna have this slightly awkward, but like fantastically awkward element to sex scenes.
Well, let me ask you this, the fantastically awkward sex scenes, is it worth it? Is it worth not only the time of the developers and all the money they put into it, but as a gamer, is it worth it going through these sometimes long quests and like conversation options to get a digital mistress into the bed?
So with how much work they put into having sex scenes in games, is it worth it for them even monetarily? You know, other games that don't have sex scenes, you know, you look at, well, my favorite franchises all have sex scenes in them. But if you look at other games, you know, you don't necessarily have to have that dynamic in order to have a successful game. However, you know, Dragon Age, Witcher, they are known for that, and they get a lot of publicity for that because they do it well, and it's tons of press. And you know what? I would say that the juice is worth the squeeze because
what the fuck? The juice is worth the squeeze?
Yeah, it's a lot of work to make a glass of juice, but man, that juice tastes good.
Dude, I've never heard that phrase in my life, and I live in motherfucking Florida.
Dude, well, now you know it, and you can teach all of your fellow Floridans all about their own juicing techniques.
Excuse me, it's Floridians.
Floridians.
All right? We're floral, okay?
Bad. Okay, you're okay. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Thank you. I accept your apology on the behalf of all Floridians.
So Jesus Christ. So I think that it's totally worth it because I really, really enjoy going after this character intimately, going through these quests. It's like the weird dating aspect of it. And then finally getting that option to like make sweet love. And you know what?
Sweet, sweet love.
If it was really good lovemaking, I might not even like it as much.
Okay.
Just because the awkwardness of it makes it fun. It makes it like a game.
Yeah.
And I feel rewarded because I have now had virtual, like my character has had this virtual...
some virtual booty.
Yeah. Virtual intercourse.
Okay. You can class it up for this podcast. I see what you're doing.
And even if the scene isn't great, even if they don't lift their arms up and show their armpits, I'm still normally a pretty happy camper.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I've enjoyed every cheesy, campy sex scene I've ever seen in a video game. I kind of look over my shoulder when I'm about to click the option, you know, like, is anyone watching me? All right. Yes. I will ask you about how your day went.
Do you think that if it was better though, if it was more realistic, would you feel more awkward about the pursuit?
I think I would. I really do, because like it's like, how real are you willing to commit to the game? Like, if it's cheesy and someone catches you, like, what the fuck? You'd be like, look, dude, it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. If it was like a full-blown serious sex scene, like you're watching porn in a gaming environment, I would be completely embarrassed. And I don't even think it'd be worth it, because like it's like you said, like the corniness is the payoff. Like, it's hilarious to see Gerald awkwardly clip with another model. Like, it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I do think that the lack of realism adds to it. So as they go forward, like riding that line and seeing like how real they can get will be something that I'm sure some game's gonna cross, and like everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck, dudes? Like, what are you thinking?"
Yeah.
And then
it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, because like all the politicians are freaking out about hot coffee from GTA. Like, you remember that shit? Like, oh, someone modded some boobs into a video game, and like the entire country stopped.
Yeah.
So gaming and sex, sex scenes in gaming. You can hit us up on Backspace Nomads on Twitter to let us know your favorite gaming sex scenes and kind of what you think about it as a whole.
Not awkward at all to have on your.
No. I love it. Please.
Tell us all of your weirdness.
Please, like, let us know. What's your favorite awkward gaming sex scenes? And then we'll retweet it so all our followers know. All right, we're going to go to intermission real quick. And when we come back, we're going to be reviewing the new released game, Friday the 13th. We'll be right back, everybody. Thank you for sitting through that intermission. The game we're reviewing on the pod today is Friday the 13th. Developed from IllFonic Games, published from Gun Media. It was released May 26, 2017 for a whopping $39.99. Friday the 13th is a game, a third-person horror survival game where players take on the role as a teen counselor, or for the first time ever, Jason. You and 6 other unlucky souls will do everything possible to escape and survive while the most well-known killer in the world tracks you down and brutally slaughters you. Friday the 13th, Monica, what were your expectations going into this game?
So I feel like this genre of games, which I don't even know what it's necessarily called, it's like a hide and seek type of game. Really,
it's like survival horror, I think, like, but with hide and seek. Yeah,
it's like, okay, hide and seek survival horror, but yes. So I had decently high expectations. I have seen people promoting this as of like a few months ago. I know it was a Kickstarter game, and so it got a lot of hype even back then. And so my expectation was that I was hoping that it would, kind of beat out its competitors. It had a lot of backing. It had a really good platform to start off with. And it has just all that nostalgia wrapped up into it, right? And history. So, but my expectation was also that it was just going to be another Dead Realm or another Dead by Daylight. That's kind of where I was at. I was just like, how is this going to really deliver, you know? Yep. But I think that's healthy, especially for how much assistance it was going to get.
Yeah, and I definitely, this is pulling out a lot of the same strings that Dead by Daylight is. My expectations for the game were kind of like, I never played Dead by Daylight.
Oh.
Dead Realm? I never played Dead
Realm or Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I never played either of those. The one game I did play that's kind of started this genre or brought it to popularity was Evolve, where it's basically like a group of players against one other player who's a monster, right? Mm-hmm. So I was kind of excited going into it. Like you, like the nostalgia. I was never a big Friday the 13th fan, but I definitely know the series. I've watched a few of the movies and like really enjoyed them. So to get ready for this game, like I was watching a lot of streamers play this game. I was watching a lot of Sakisha, especially, who we had on the pod a few episodes ago. He was playing. He's like a really great player, so I was like trying to get like tips before I went into this. I was getting pretty excited because he makes the game look really fun. Mm-hmm. I know my brothers are big fans of this genre in general, so like I was like ready to get into this game. Like this is my first entry into it. I'm gonna get fucking like I'm having so much fun. I'm gonna be Jason. I'm gonna rip some fucking heads off. And then I started playing the game. So let's start talking about the things you liked from Friday the 13th, Monica.
Okay, so I think that at least in comparison to other games, there is something to be enjoyed and admired with the different ways you can create death as Jason, or you can die as one of the teens. They do, a good job of different scenarios, different death scenes that are truly gruesome and really cater to that horror element.
It's like Mortal Kombat fatality level shit.
Yeah. And that makes it fun, that definitely creates a fun environment for this type of game. You want that, you need the deaths to mean something. You need to really feel defeated, or you need to if you're playing as Jason, you need to really feel like you've accomplished something. And I think that they did a good job with that, which is a big element to these types of hide and seek, horror survival games. So
yeah.
What about you?
I think the first thing is just the overall mood that they set in this game. And this is like top down. It's covering a lot, like art, sound, character design. Like the mood they set in this game is fantastic. The moment you load it up, you do feel like you're in a horror movie. This is a Kickstarter game, but I feel like a lot of times when you say that, you can kind of say, like, when I hear a Kickstarter game, I don't think it's going to be well produced. I think it's going to almost be like bootstrapped. But then I loaded this game, and like everything is beautiful. The graphics in this game are top notch. The sound's top notch, and it really set you and put you into the mood of either being a concert, like scared for your fucking life that Jason's about to like murder your ass, and also when you're playing as Jason, that you are that character and that you are like all powerful. They did a really great job setting the overall mood, and I think that kind of goes underappreciated in game development because it's not something you normally like think about. And so IllFonic here did a wonderful job setting the mood. What's something else you liked?
So I guess this is an easy one for me. I could probably say this about most of the games within this genre, just as a heads up. But I feel legitimate fear when playing this. I feel legitimate anxiety when playing it. I feel
really?
I get jump scares when confronted by Jason. I don't think that the confrontations happen as often, but I almost think that helps when it does occur because it's so shocking. Yeah. Some of the other games that I've played in this genre, in a smaller space than some of these maps that are presented. And you're in a smaller space, and so you're much more likely to run into your pursuer. So you're almost always on edge. Yeah. In this game, I feel like there are periods of time where you almost feel safe, and then all of a sudden you're not. And so I liked the pacing of that.
There definitely feels like there's breathing room. Like, you know your friends are getting murdered, but you got time to accomplish your goals.
Right. I guess the thing we should say here, too, is that, you know, the main ways to win as the teen is to either... What is it? If you survive, or there's a couple other ways. I never accomplished any of them, but like you can, I think you can call the police. Yeah. You can, you can you drive away? I don't remember.
Yeah. So like some of the game mechanics, like call the police, like you said. There are 1 to 2 cars in every map, and with that. Every car is broken down. You have to go and fill the gas tank up with a gas canister, or you got to put a car battery into the car, and you got to find the keys to start the car.
Right.
And then once all those 3 goals are met, the car can get started off, and then you got to drive and find your way to a exit to the map, so to speak.
Right.
And there's also a boat, which is pretty much the same as a car, except it's like water based.
Yeah. So I guess I like the fact that because you're also task oriented in this game, and not just trying to live until a timer runs out, that you can you get almost distracted by those tasks.
Yeah. There is a timer in the game, like it's a 20-minute window, but it feels so big, and you're able to accomplish these goals that I only knew about the timer.
Isn't that only one? That's only one of the ways you survive. Is just surviving the night. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I only bring that up because like I didn't know about that until I was watching other people play the game, because this game like clipped along at such a good pace that you never got to the 20-minute mark where that happened in all the games I played.
Oh, I just tried hiding.
Did you like hide in the tent and just get murdered?
I tried hiding in the outhouses. In corners, just in tree behind
shit
trees.
Out of luck. Yeah. On the we do a first 30 minutes thing on our YouTube channel, and at the very end of the first 30 minutes of the gameplay I put in front of this game, I'm playing as Jason, and I end with like grabbing someone out of like one of the tents and just smashing them into a tree. Like it's one of the best like game fatalities I've ever seen. Like it's just brutal.
Yeah.
Something else I really liked about this game, the characters in this game are just great. Obviously, Jason is such a fantastic character. They go through all his, or a couple different iterations of Jason throughout all the movies. They're all really well done, really well thought out. All his different looks have different mechanics, so the developers did a really great job putting mechanics to a design from watching the movies. That's a hard thing to do, and I give them nothing but props for that. Also, the counselors, all the kids and like people at this camp, they are just fantastic character design. They're all kind of themed, and I think the 80s just like the 80s genre, that time period, did a really great job of like stereotyping and like filling in that stereotype. And this developer really pulled from that, and every character you can play as has its own distinct personality. And they build those personalities into the stats of these characters, like how stealthy they are, how strong they are, how much determination and like concentration they have. So that's probably the last big point, is just character design, from artistically to game mechanics, really well thought out. And I think it's some of the best I've seen in gaming, just like as a whole, because everything's gotten to like build your own character, where this game is really like, no, these are the characters that you're going to play. And I really appreciated that from a developer, because I don't think I've played that in so long and had this much diversity.
Similarly to you, I've watched Friday the 13th films. I wouldn't say I'm a huge buff for them though. Like I'm not, watching them like every night or being like, oh my God, you've never seen these films. You have to watch them. It's not part of your workout routine. Yeah, exactly. However, I did feel that, from what I remember from the the films and everything, that this game does a good job of partaking in them. And it kind of, in a way, I feel like it almost... So, from what I remember from the movies, is that this guy just never fucking dies. And, like, in this game, he can't die. You can stun him with a weapon or with hitting him, but you can't kill him.
There's a way to kill Jason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just researching the articles. There's a very long and convoluted process, but it is possible. If everyone works together, you can kill Jason.
Okay, well, I can't see everyone working together, but I guess that will go into my into the negatives here. But yeah, so in general, though, I really liked the building up of his character. I thought that they did a good job of that, and kind of, almost explained the funkiness that is like that 80s horror, that 90s horror, where it just doesn't quite make sense, but you're still scared out of your mind,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I got nothing else for the things I liked. It's just mood and character design. So let's move into some of the things that we kind of dislike about this game. What's your first one here?
Well, I guess it would be that, in order to get the cars and everything, you have to kind of search these maps in order to find the elements that you need, and in order to call the police or get cars running or get the boat running. And it requires a lot of just searching. Yep. Which that in and of itself isn't bad, but if you're working with other people, and maybe it was the people that I was working with, but I don't feel that the team... You're really at the mercy of who you're playing with, and unless you have a big group of your own personal friends that you get to play the game with, I feel like working with other people is very difficult.
It is very difficult, and I think your level of enjoyment of this game is the group of people you get situated with. Because if you're not working together, this game is extremely tough.
If you're that person that wants to play and not talk to anyone, you're really not helping anyone else out. Yes. So you almost have to socialize in the setting. And I will admit that it's not always the first thing I want to do is to talk to a bunch of other people that I don't know.
Especially kind of in the gaming culture, because there's a lot of stuff that'll get you muted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. So yeah, I think maybe because this game is so dependent on teamwork for it to be fair. To me, my biggest dislike of this game, honestly, is that Jason, as a character, felt so wholly overpowered and so unbelievably hard to escape and to deal with as a consular. While I was playing this game, and I was streaming to some people, and they were talking to me, and I was talking to them about it, and they're like, yeah, but he's Jason. And I'm like, I get that. I get that he's Jason from the movies, and he's he gets abilities where he can just teleport clear across the map. He can sense where everyone is and just see you.
That's what I didn't understand. Was that more so to explain how in the I don't get it. How did Jason have powers like that?
It's not that he had powers like that, but I think they're interpreting what a movie version would look like in a game, and how horror movie villains just kind of oh, they're behind you, now they're just in front of you.
Okay. That makes sense.
And so they kind of tried to tie that into some kind of game mechanic, which is cool, but there are a lot of problems that go into that, because he can teleport wherever the hell he wants to, which means he can teleport into front of you and then instantly grab you, and you're dead. You have no defense against it because you didn't see it coming. And if Jasons are good enough, if you get high enough level, these people are good players, and they can abuse that system. So there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made on Jason's part, I think, and I think that ties into the screen scratches that go on, where it's you're watching this through a VCR, and the game just scratches and you can't see anything and disorients you. What the fuck were you thinking, dudes? How? Just stop. I am not watching this as a movie. I am playing this as a game. And as a player, it did not feel good. every time it happened, I just hated it. Once I even understood the mechanic and how to deal with it, I still didn't like it. Mm-hmm. So Jason being overpowered, and there's so much that goes into him being overpowered. Like, there's so much. Like, they don't explain his abilities to you as a player. Like, there's so much bad going on when you first start playing the game that I guess it's a learning curve, but do you get over that curve before you stop enjoying the game?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you in that sense. I feel like this game expects you to just be a fan of Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you don't have that deep-seated love, then you are left, kind of wondering what's so special.
Yeah.
What's happening here that's so special. But, I am a fan of this genre as a whole. I don't know. So some of the things that you are able to stun Jason, but I swear to God, I would hit him and nothing would happen and I would just die. I don't know if that was just a lag issue on my end or if that was buggy. There were other situations where I'm like, I swear I should have been okay, or like, Jason just seemed to like come through a wall.
Yeah.
And I'd be running, so I wasn't sure if that really happened, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that there are bugs happening here because in my panic and screaming, and I tend to shake the camera when I start panicking and I have to regain composure. It's hard for me to tell if bugs are actually happening or if it's me. But did you experience any bugs? Or like...
I don't know. I don't like bugs to a less extent. It's more so like what's going on isn't being communicated through animations correctly.
Okay.
That's how I felt.
Okay.
And I will say I didn't understand this game until I played as Jason, which it's a random selection. When you join a game, there's like 8 people or whatever in the game, and then like one person's Jason. It's randomly selected, and I played 6 or 7 rounds where I didn't understand anything until I played as Jason. Mm-hmm. And I do think I think the games are not on a server. I think they're hosted by one of the players in the game, and it just randomly selects that. So there is a delay on animations versus what's going on in the game. Mm-hmm. I can totally see where you felt like you're getting bugged out, because I think I felt that way, but I kind of understood what was going on under the hood more so than feeling like it was a complete bug. And I don't know. Like, my next dislike of this game, I think, would just... I couldn't help but fight the feeling like that. I was just bored while I played it. Either Jason, like, was right on top of me, and I died, like, within the first 3 minutes of the game. And then I had to sit there for the remaining 17 minutes and watch other people kind of walk and search through doors and complete these tasks. Or I was not getting chased by Jason and I ran around for 10 minutes and then like got into a boat and got away without ever seeing Jason. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many rounds of this game I played where I just felt bored. And I was like, it's not that the game's bad, but why am I playing this game over other games that I enjoy and aren't as slow-paced and boring to me? And I think that might be just a genre thing and like a me thing. But I just, I know that happened to me where I just like playing it, and I just kind of felt like once I started understanding the game and how to get away from Jason, how to deal with him, that the game was just kind of boring to me as a whole.
I feel like playing as the teenager feels like a job.
Yes.
It feels like you are just completing a job to have the chance to play as Jason.
Yep. And
your likelihood to play as Jason is pretty slim.
Yep.
So I guess I would say that is, kind of was a pain to me, because you don't always want to be the bait. And I totally understand why they wouldn't allow you to just say, like, I'm going to play as Jason, because who in the world would want to always play as a teen? That's, that's the lucky you get to be Jason this round. But I guess the biggest thing for me is that this is a game that you want to play with friends, and you want to have a bunch of friends to play with.
Yeah.
And this is like you plan the night out. You're like, hey everyone, we're gonna play Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, and all of us are gonna play together. And I can see it being a really fun game to play in that setting. But just to like pick it up and play for 5 hours, if you're not playing with other people that you don't know, or if you're not like, if you're a streamer and you're not playing with community or something like that, I was left wanting.
Very lonely.
Yeah, it is.
And like, even after all that loneliness, and maybe it's because you are playing by yourself, like even when I won the game as a consular, and I didn't have a sense that I won anything. I had no sense that like
a big loser.
There you go, got out.
Yeah.
All right. There wasn't this overwhelming sense of like achievement, and even when I played as Jason, and I killed maybe like 5 out of the 7 people who were playing that game, I didn't feel like I won anything. It felt very lackluster at the end, and I don't know what that is. It's like they're not building up to this big moment, this big conflict. It just kind of meanders, and then you kill people. And it's so easy to kill people as Jason. It's so easy. And I know when you get to higher levels, it's probably harder, it's more challenging, and all that nonsense. But, I'm talking about the first 10 to 15 levels, and I had no problem beating people as Jason. I could find him. His mechanic where he can just see people moving when they're making noise, he can kind of see little pings in the air. Once I played that and I understood that, I was pretty frustrated with this developer on how easy it was for Jason to be played.
Right.
I think
if this game was just called Jason, it might almost have been.
Yeah, and guess what? In Evolve, you could queue up as just the monster, or you could queue up as to be like one of the 4 people fighting him. So the people that really want to play the monster had the opportunity, and then if you had if you'd like to solo as a player beating the monster, you could do that, or you could do it, or you could have all 4. Like, there were choices to do that, and this game is just missing that.
It sounds like, I never played Evolve, but it also sounds like in Evolve, you couldn't fight? You fought, right?
Yeah.
You could shoot, you could kill, right?
Yeah.
So in this game, I made the mistake. I didn't realize that you were able to kill Jason. So it sounds like that is a capability here, but it's not the same.
Do you want me to explain that to you? Like what it
just
involves?
Based off of how the way you sound right now, no. Is it super complicated? Just
I'll tell you this: you can't do it by yourself.
Okay. So
and
you need
can't
to
do it
be
if you're
with your friends.
Yeah, and you need a female character. If you have a male characters, if only males are left, you can't kill them at all.
Okay.
Like it takes.
So it's a pain in the butt.
Ooh.
So I guess the thing is like, is that even a worthwhile mechanic?
No.
In Evolve, it sounds like you can fight. In this game, you can stun, or you can just be like me and get killed trying to stun. But I just feel like something's lost there, and really what you become is just a mouse running. That's really what your goal is, and I feel like that does leave something to be desired.
It does, and I will say other games in this genre, you really did work together, and there were game mechanics to force you to work together as a team. Where this, you could win the game by working by yourself, and if you got involved working with other people, that would probably get you killed more often than not. So it was like the game was forcing you to betray, like some of the consulars and stuff. It's not, I don't know. That's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
Final thoughts for you on Friday the 13th. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Where are you going?
I am a thumbs down on this one, unfortunately. I feel like I'm always a thumbs up too. I'm a hesitant thumbs down. I do feel like there is a place and an enjoyment factor for people that love this genre. I think it's a good addition to it. But I've played other games that I enjoyed just as much at a lower price point. They didn't have the Friday the 13th tag on them. And the Friday the 13th tag, that name, Jason being in the game is not a big enough booster to the game itself to make me want to make that purchase. If you are a Friday the 13th fan, lover, you know, a buff, then yes, you want to get this game, especially if you like that type of, you know, hide and seek gameplay. So, but for me, thumbs down, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the same way. Like, thumbs down. Kind of, I know I do this too often, but like thumbs down with an asterisk. Maybe it's the genre. I'm not into this type of game or genre as a whole. Like, everything is so well produced and so well done that this game is definitely worth the money if you're into this type of genre. So for me, and I think we're kind of building up a repertoire, like people know what kind of games we're into. So if you're like me, you're not going to like this type of game. But if you're into like Dead by Daylight, if you're really into like, I guess Dead Realm is what you're saying. If you're into the hide and seek, just like you, go ahead and pick this game up for yourselves. But for me, I'm going to have to do a thumbs down. That's the first double thumbs down review we've gotten in a while, Monica.
I know.
So Friday the 13th, developed by IllFonic, published by Gun Media. You can find it on Steam for $39.99. That's 2 thumbs down from the Backspace Nomads. We're sorry, dudes. That's going to do it for episode 19 of the Backspace Nomads. You can find us on Twitter at Backspace Nomads. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.